Hi, everybody. I'm Melinda Emerson, the Small Biz Lady, America's #1 small business expert. And I would like to welcome you tonight to SmallBizChat Live. Now, the whole mission of SmallBizChat is to end small business failure. We're all about helping people get peer-to-peer advice in a comfortable setting so nobody feels stupid asking a question on SmallBizChat. But the best thing about SmallBizChat Live is that we bring you 3 live guest experts, not just one, like we do every week on Twitter. The reason why we do this is because we want to get you guys an up close and personal access to some of the top small business experts in the country. And tonight's show is absolutely no exception. And we're really excited tonight because tonight's show is being sponsored by MixMax. And let me tell you a little bit about MixMax. It is a marketing automation tool that works on top of Gmail. So if you're like me, you use Google Calendar, you use Google Voice, and you use Gmail for your business, MixMax goes right on top of it. It shows you when people open your emails. It lets you email people your availability, so you don't do that all back and forth thing, trying to tell people when you can meet with them. And it's a great way for you to automate emails to go out. So check out mixmax.com. They've got a free trial. Check it out. And that's MixMax.com. Now, listen, tonight's show is awesome. We are going to be talking about how you can, build a lifestyle business. And that's going to be great. We've got Donna Maria here to talk about that. We're also going to be talking about those pesky numbers. I want you guys to get on top of your numbers. We don't want your fear of math to be the reason why you don't know what's going on in your business. And we've got Ellen Rohr here, and she's going to be talking about that. And networking, good old-fashioned networking, in person, online. We've got David Weiss, and he's here from Selfie, and that is an edible selfie company. He's going to tell us a little bit more about that. And so we have an amazing show for you tonight. And with that, I want to introduce my first guest. And my first guest is Ellen Rohr. And Ellen is the owner of Zoom Drain and Sewer Franchising. She's a Ziglar certified legacy trainer and the author of some unfussy business books, including Where Did the Money Go? And The Weekend Business Plan. You can learn more about Ellen at ellenrohr.com. But I just want to give you a quick disclaimer. Ellen is one of the funniest and best business experts I know. When I first met her, she was marketing herself as the plumber's wife, and that's how she learned so much about numbers. And I am so excited to have you, Ellen, here with us tonight.
I love you. Mwah. I'm honored to be here, and I love you. I'm going to learn something from you tonight. I always do.
Well, I can't wait to learn more from you. So let's get down to it. Let's talk about those pesky financial reports. You know what I'm talking about. That cash flow statement, that balance sheet, and what's the last one? That statement of cash flow. Excuse me, the P&L. Balance sheet, P&L, and statement of cash flow. Who has time for all that? I mean, we know we're supposed to be looking at that stuff every month, but you and I both know, and Donna Maria can amen to us back in the choir too, that there's people that don't look at that stuff. But tell me, what is the bare minimum that business owners need to know to be responsible over the finances of their business?
Well, there's no judgment and only love here as I share what I've learned. But once upon a time, as the plumber's wife, I quit my real job. I went to work with my husband, the plumber. I have a college degree. I had a lot of business experience. I thought it would be easy. I would count the money, hit turn wrenches, and we would get rich. And none of that happened. Instead, we went into debt and we were hating on each other. And my experience is not unique. There's so many mom pop shops, couples, partners who go into business together and then it really wreaks havoc on their relationship. And I was the poster child for disaster. So for me, what happened is I was in debt up to my eyeballs. I had no money. I was absolutely willing to go out of business, but I wasn't willing to live that life anymore. And that point of pain is what caused me to take the steps I needed to become good enough at the financials. All right. So I found a mentor, and that's why we're here tonight. No one is successful on their own. You believe in mentorship. You're always doing loving, kind things to help a sister or brother out. And so I found a great mentor, and he taught me this. And if you remember one thing from tonight, You have to charge more than it costs to stay in business, to make the money you deserve. You got to charge more than it costs. But for me and for many others, I didn't know how much it cost. I had no idea because I wasn't looking at those reports. So how much time do you have to spend? Well, at first, until you get your arms around the balance sheet, the profit and loss, and then the statement of cash flow is a bit of a mashup of the two. Until you get to that point, you might have to study up. Like if you were going to learn to play golf, you'd have to take golf lessons, you get a golf pro, you'd hang out with golfers, same thing. But you might find a mentor, you might find I love young people, a young progressive bookkeeper who's going to get you started. And at first you might spend some time, but literally right now, Melinda, I have my family fortune, my business, Zoom Drain franchise, 11 franchisees, and I pay attention to all of those companies in minutes a week. Minutes a week. Because does that make sense?
It does, but you need to break that on down to me. How in the world do you pay attention to 15 different entities in minutes?
Well, the first part is getting to what I call a known financial position. So that means you know where you stand financially. And I hold that the highest standard is literally running the balance sheet and the profit and loss on a weekly basis. Now, start with a monthly basis. Start with getting your taxes done for 2018, right? Start getting better now. But ultimately, if you are, just paying attention to the few things that matter, simplify your chart of accounts, simplify the balance sheet and profit and loss so the balance sheet fits on one page, the profit and loss fits on a page and a half. Boil down the numbers you're looking at for starters. Most people make this way too complicated. And you are going to need some help. You're going to need someone who's been through this before. I think my very best piece of advice is to find a business owner who struggled with this, someone with whom you don't compete. Meet them at the BNI meeting, meet them at the mixer, at the association. You're going to be visiting with 300 businesswomen tomorrow. Encourage those folks to talk to each other. Who here has figured this out? Glom onto the person who has and sit elbow to elbow to start to understand what's a balance sheet, what's a profit and loss, your asset from your elbow. That's going to take some time. You might need to spend a few hours a week until you get to that point. But now, because my companies are all simple and streamlined, and I look at the numbers so often, I can spot something that's weird quite quickly. So I'm just saying, for encouragement, it's not always going to be hours a week. Later on, it's going to be minutes a week.
I get it. Now, you say that the balance sheet is the most confusing. Why is that?
Yeah, most people understand a profit and loss. By the way, it's called a profit and loss or an income statement. And I don't know why they use multiple words for the same things, just to confuse you. QuickBooks calls it a profit and loss, so let's use that, or a P&L. Okay, so the profit and loss is pretty straightforward. Sales minus expenses equals what's left over. And if it's a positive number, it's a profit, and that's good. People can get their arms around that. Now, the balance sheet's a little weirder, but it's the more important report. The balance sheet shows what you have, that's your assets, and then what you owe, liabilities, and what you own. And it's actually based on an equation. What you have, your assets, equals who lays claim to those assets. Pretty interesting. So think of it this way. For your home, for your personal fortune, you could have a balance sheet. The asset, for instance, would be your home. Suppose you spent $500,000 on your home, and then equals your mortgage, $400,000, which means you have equity of $100,000. Right. So what you have, what you owe, what you own, these are good things to know. We only have a little time, but I'm just teasing you with it's not that hard.
All right. Now here's my biggest beef though when it comes to numbers, Ellen. People confuse revenue and profit.
Well, let's define the terms again. Revenue, sales, income, 3 words that mean essentially the same thing. I know it's weird. All of those refer to total sales, like all the money that's coming into your company. Then there's expenses, labor, materials, computers, pencils, cars, all that.
Legal, marketing, yes.
Right. And the number one expense is usually the people, should be. All right. So all those expenses, and then what's left over is profit. Profit, if it's a positive number, it's a loss if it's a negative number. Now, if you're paying attention every week, if you're paying attention every month, you can make changes in your behavior to make sure you operate at a profit. And if you operate at a profit, you don't dig a big pile of debt. If you operate at a loss, you're going to go into debt. Mathematically, it's the only thing you can do. Business is not that hard. And if you will get your arms around some of these basics, you'll make better decisions. Now, profit often gets confused for cash. So just because I sold this much and these are my expenses and this is what's left over, that number may not equal what I have in the bank account. And that gets a little tricky too, because they may not have paid you yet. You might have that cash stuck in accounts receivable, or you might have already turned around and used that cash to buy something else. So profits and cash, the few numbers that make all the difference, the two numbers that I watch like a hawk every week. Am I making a profit? And do I have enough in cash to pay my bills? Isn't this easy? Is that hard? Didn't you know that already? And I don't pay attention to a lot of other stuff.
Yeah. Well, listen, did I make money and do I have enough cash to pay my bills? That's something.
Hello. Good to know.
Every week. That's a good thing to be concerned about. Now, how does one, I know that we need to get people more focused on profit.
Yeah.
People focus on revenue. People focus on sales. I'm like, how do we get people to hyper focus on profit? What is the right way to do that?
Okay, so if you're a sports person, think of it like offense and defense. Offense is sales. Offense is sales. What do I got to do to make more on the top line? Revenue. And then defense is controlling expenses. What do I not waste money on? What could I wait till next month to buy? Right? So you're going to make decisions every day as to what's going to increase sales and what's going to control expenses. Now, with sales playing offense, I ask people all the time. They say, well, people don't want to pay my prices, so I have to keep lowering the price, to which I will respond, have you ever taken a sales class? Taken a class on how to sell better? And they say no. Now, if you wanted to play golf, you would take a lesson at some point if you stunk at golf. So if you stink at sales, if you can't get your prices, if you're not selling, if you're getting a lot of no's, a sales class is a really great idea. None of this is that challenging. So quit making it fancier than it has to be. You got to sell at the right price. How do you know how much you have to charge? Well, if you're paying attention to your balance sheet and profit and loss and you're not making any money, you could raise your prices. Top line gets higher, expenses stay the same, and you'll make more money.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Listen, Ellen, I'm going to put a pin in that. We're going to go to a commercial break, but when we come back, we are going to talk about profit first and a lot more. I'm Melinda Emerson. You are watching Small Biz Chat Live, and we will be right back.
Since we implemented MixMax, our open rates are 86%, our reply rates are 52%, and our RSVP yes rates 41%.
My advice for other companies interested in MixMax is definitely go for it. It's also a really easy onboarding process. It's very user-friendly. It's easy to get in there. I wish we had started using it a lot sooner, and it's made my life much, much easier.
Biz Chat Live. We have just been talking with Ellen Rohr. She is the founder and owner of Zoom Drain and Sewer Franchising, and she is a great small business expert. She's a money lady, and I love money, honey. Let me tell you. So we are so excited to have Ellen back with us. Now, Ellen, in my book, Fix Your Business, I had an opportunity to interview our good friend, Mike Michalowicz, and he talks about how in addition to understanding, your profit and loss and profit and all this stuff, that you need to have a profit first account. Can you talk to us about that and what that is and how people should be thinking about that?
Yep. Love Mike Michalowicz. He's spot on great. I'm glad we're mutual friends with him. So his basic concept is to pay yourself first. That if you wait until you've made all those other expenses, you might neglect to pay yourself. And it's a very good discipline. So what he suggests is that you actually take maybe 10% off of every payment that someone makes to you and you squirrel it away. Now, what I would suggest is that you literally move that money from one checking account to a savings account or to another account, so that you literally are financial, your bank accounts match what you have in QuickBooks. In other words, just don't make a phony baloney accounting move, but literally make a deposit into that other account. And then when you reconcile your checking accounts every month, they're going to be true. Like, I want those numbers on my QuickBooks to be real. And so yes, on Profit First, and go that extra mile to actually set up those accounts that he's recommending. Love him.
Okay, I completely agree with you. Now, I know you talked earlier about how people can get a mentor to help them learn about their numbers, but I didn't have a mentor to teach me about the numbers. I actually hired a really seasoned bookkeeper who taught me how to understand the numbers in my business way back in the day. It was 20 years ago. But now, if somebody has a little budget and they want to get some professional accounting help, what should they do?
Well, at first, when I was so broke, I literally could not afford to pay an accountant. So I got an accounting program. I read the little primer. It took me way too long to learn it, mostly because I was like, I'm too creative. I shouldn't have to do this. All that nonsense. And when I finally just buckled down and learned how to do some data entry myself, I realized it wasn't that big a deal. Then, when I could afford an accountant and it had everything to do with raising my prices, I worked with her and I said, I could do the day-to-day, you could check my work. Then I hired somebody. But going through that process, when I didn't have any money, actually learning enough about the bookkeeping to know what was happening, I cannot be bamboozled. And that is a brilliant place to be. So if you have to learn it yourself, it's not that you don't have to do it forever, and you will not regret having learned that.
All right. Well, we have to wrap up soon, but I wanted to ask you, what is the best borrowing advice you can give a small business owner? Because a lot of times, it's one thing to be making money, but what if you need more money? What is the best borrowing advice you can give?
I'm going to move fast. I'm going to say two things. One is, don't borrow money to pay yourself. Sorry, that's not how it works. You could borrow money for a vehicle or equipment, and a secured loan like that is going to be much easier to get because they could come and take that vehicle or that equipment. You're probably more likely to get that loan. You might need to borrow some money in order to make some marketing investments. However, I'm a bootstrapper, man. I like to sell something, sell it for more than it costs, and use that money to fund my company. Now, having said that, if you do need more, you're manufacturing, you need a line of credit, you do have some legit reasons for borrowing a little more money, have your banker help you. What are you looking for on my balance sheet that you don't see? What do these ratios need to be for you to say yes? Your banker can really help you understand what they need so that you can get that loan. I'm working with one of my franchisees right now for an SBA loan, and we're having that exact conversation. What do you need to say yes? And then we can massage the numbers and work to get those. I'm not talking about fake numbers. I'm, to change the numbers so that you can say yes to a loan.
All right. Well, Ellen, that was really, really helpful. We really appreciate having you on SmallBizChat Live, because here our mission is to end small business failure, and teaching us the building blocks for smart financial practices is something any small business owner can use. Now, listen, everyone, don't go away. When we come right back on SmallBizChat Live, we're going to be talking with Donna Maria, and she's going to be talking to us about becoming that lifestyle entrepreneur. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Hi, I'm Melinda Emerson, Small Biz Lady. I know you might be thinking about quitting your business and going back into corporate America. But wait, before you give up, my new book, Fix Your Business, could give you a whole new lease on life. My 12 P's of running a successful business will walk you through step by step how to grow your business revenue, how to hire great people, and streamline your processes, and so much more. Grab a copy today of Fix Your Business and get your life back. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to SmallBizChat Live. I am Melinda Emerson, the Small Biz Lady. Normally we're live on Twitter, but tonight we're live on Facebook, we're live on Periscope on Twitter, and we're live on YouTube. And now, you can find us every Wednesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern, answering people's small business questions. But tonight, we're bringing you 3 live experts who are giving you advice on all things small business. Now, it is my time to introduce our next guest, Donna Maria. She's an entrepreneur, mentor, speaker, podcaster, and founder and CEO of the Indie Business Network. And she specializes in helping entrepreneurs build a lifestyle business through recurring revenues. I love that. Recurring revenues. That's how you sustain a business. She has an ebook that she gives away for free called Six Figures from Scratch, how a mom used the internet to build a 6-figure recurring revenue business from home while raising her children. You can learn more about her at DonnaMaria.com. Donna Maria, welcome to SmallBizChat Live.
Hey, everybody. How's everybody doing? I'm excited to be here, Melinda.
I am so excited to have you. You have such a wealth of knowledge about building a lifestyle business, and I'm so excited to talk to you about it. So the first thing I want to ask you is, if I know that I want to build a lifestyle business, what is it that I need to do first? And first of all, can you even define lifestyle business? Because I'm not sure people really understand what that is.
Well, that's a great question to start with. And because it is a lifestyle business, a lot of it depends on how you define a lifestyle business, because it's your lifestyle that your business is going to be built around. But I'll tell you how I define it. I define it and have always defined it from the very beginning when I started my business 20 years ago as a business that offered me freedom, flexibility, fun, and finances. Those 4 things is what I define as a lifestyle business, and mainly through recurring revenue.
So let's talk about that. So if, one of the things I decide I want to sell these widgets, and marketing and lead gen is such an issue, how does a new small business owner create a marketing and sales system that leads to consistently recurring revenue?
Okay, well, that's a good question too. But look, can I back up for a second? For a new person, you really need to back that train up quite a bit, because you can't come out of the block selling something. What you have to do is come out of the block training yourself and doing research so you can know exactly what you're doing. So the first phase of entrepreneurship is the emerge phase. And that's where you emerge, okay? So that's where you forget about what everybody else is saying. You forget about all the books. You forget about all the social media. You forget about everything, and you become self-aware, right? You figure out what it is that you're trying to do for your life first. How do you want a business to impact your life? How do you want a business to impact your life today, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And I think this is a piece, Melinda, that a lot of people miss. They come out going, I need to sell, I need to be on Twitter, and everybody says I have to have a video, and I got to do Snapchat and all that stuff. It's like, back up. Define what you want for your life first, because that's going to help you build a business. Because once you know what kind of life you want to have, then you know what kind of business you can build around that will deliver that life to you.
I agree. All right. So now I'm going to ask you my marketing and lead gen question again.
Okay.
Once you know this widget you want to sell, how do you generate recurring revenue and build a sales system to give you that?
Okay. The bottom line is, in order to generate recurring revenue, you have to find something that people will buy on a recurring basis. Okay, so that's really the first question you have to answer. It's not what will people buy, it's what will they buy on a recurring basis. So you have to understand who people are and what they need and what they will get from you over and over and over again without you having to do anything other than process that payment and ship that product out. So you've got to understand that you don't just get recurring revenue. Like you hear people talk, I want some passive income, I want some recurring revenue. No, you have to recur before the revenue will recur. Okay, so you got to show up in whatever capacity is important to your customer And then you have to explain to them why not only they need this product, but why do they need it on a recurring basis? And why are you the person to provide it? So that's a general answer. And it's going to kind of depend on exactly what you want to sell, how we get down into the nitty gritty. But that's the bottom line. You cannot have recurring revenue unless you have a recurring need. So that's the first question you need to answer. What is the recurring need?
I love it. I love it. All right. Now, a website is so key to selling anything these days. What kinds of resources should a new business, kind of invest in for their first website?
Okay. If you're a new business owner, the first thing you need to do is find other business owners who have a business that is similar to yours, who have a website that generally has the features you want at your website, and you need to find out who designed their website. That's what you need to do. Collect 20 people, 20 website designers who designed websites that are similar to the kind of website you want, maybe even selling a similar product, or if not a similar product, then something to the similar target audience. Okay, so they understand how to reach the same types of people that you're trying to reach. Ask those people who design their website, and then you're going to call up those website designers or visit their website first and find out how they want to be contacted, email, whatever, direct message, whatever it is, and reach out to them and interview them. Okay, now they may not take a whole bunch of time with you on the phone and so forth. So what you have to do is read their terms of service, read the information, read their blog, read how they work. Everyone has how to work with me. Go read how to work with them. What's their starting price? They may not give you exact general idea. It's $50,000 or $5,000. That'll tell you whether to scratch them off the list or not. So what you're able to do then is narrow your target down to about 5 people. And those are the ones you want to go to and spend some time with them, maybe even buy a consultation. It is worth it to buy a consultation, maybe an hour. Let them know what your needs are, explain how you found them, why you have narrowed down to them from all these other people, and see if there's a connection, a relationship type click. Because if you're going to be having this person design your website, you need to have a click. Okay? It's not just they know all the right buttons to push. A bazillion people know how to do that. You need someone who's going to work with you, understand you, and be responsive to you, and really share your passion for what it is you're trying to deliver to the world. A lot of people don't start off with that, Melinda. They're just, I need a website. I'm going to hire somebody now. You really have to stop and slow down and focus on what you need so you can match your needs with someone who can answer those needs for you.
All right, so I built my website. Now I'm ready to start building my brand. How do I do that?
Okay. Well, if you've built your website, you probably should have also kind of had an idea of what the brand is. So, which came first, the chicken or the egg? It kind of all happens in some sequence, and the sequence is not the same for everyone. But in order to begin to build that brand, you need to know at least 3 things. You need to know exactly what needs you're filling in the marketplace. Where is the white space? It can't just be, a bottle of lotion, right? It can't just be that, because there's millions of bottles of lotion. If you want to have a brand, you need to have something unique and different about that widget or that bottle of lotion that you offer. So the first thing is to understand what makes your product or service different from everyone else's. That is going to be the core of what begins to create that brand, because ultimately the brand is what your buyers, what the public, what consumers think and say about what it is that you offer. So you need to start with basically something that they're not going to identify with a bunch of other commodities that they can get every place in the world. So that's the first thing. The next thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you design something that meets their needs, okay? Then you're going to have to make sure that you work with someone who understands texture and color and fonts and all those things, so that you can put that idea, that vision, those intangible things together into something that you can picture on the internet. And this is so important today because pictures are everything, okay? Graphics are everything. So whether you're selling bottles of lotion or whatever it is, if you're trying to reach human beings, they are looking for pictures, and we are being trained to look for pictures, and we are being trained to look for video. So you're going to build your brand out around those core things. And you need someone who understands color and texture and patterns and those sorts of things that you want to repeat over and over. It's like putting a needle on the record. It's the same colors. It's the same fonts. It's the same thing. It's the same, picture of the same lotion over and over and over again. That is how you build a brand. And over time, you will start hearing your customers say certain things about you. Then you'll notice patterns. You leverage those patterns to refine your brand, and it becomes more and more popular with the people that matter the most. And over time, it grows and it becomes entrenched in their mindsets, and you have a brand.
I love it. I love it. Well, Donna, I've got to put a pin in that right there. We've got to go to commercial. We got to pay a few bills. But when we come back, we're going to talk more with Donna Maria about how to become a lifestyle entrepreneur. So I want you to stay tuned. I'm Melinda Emerson, and you are watching SmallBizChat Live. And we'll be right back.
Since we implemented MixMax, our open rates are 86%, our reply rates are 52%, and our RSVP yes rates 41%.
My advice for other companies interested in MixMax is definitely go for it. It's also a really easy onboarding process. It's very user-friendly. It's easy to get in there. I wish we had started using it a lot sooner, and it's made my life much, much easier.
Welcome back to SmallBizChat Live. I'm Melinda Emerson, the Small Biz Lady. We have just been talking with Donna Maria, lifestyle entrepreneur and entrepreneurship mentor. And she and I were just talking about what it takes to build a website and a brand. But now I want to come to these would-be experts and entrepreneurs that are now populating Instagram and all things online, purporting that they are experts and they've been in business for counted 2 minutes, 0 minutes even. Donna Maria, how should people, if people are looking for a coach or someone to help them get started in business, what kinds of things should they really be looking for?
Melinda, you have hit the nail. First of all, let me just tell you guys, Instagram went down for hours last week, okay? So don't only look on Instagram, okay? Look elsewhere. Look in your network. Don't rely on social media only to get the help that you need in your business. But here's the thing to remember about what you're talking about. You have to be able to look under the hood, okay? You need to train yourself to look at something that's beautiful and go, wow, that's pretty. I wonder what's behind that, okay? Because we can all go to the used car lot and it's beautiful, right? It's gorgeous. Right. And then we take it to a mechanic that we trust and they're like, I don't think so. It's been in 5 wrecks or whatever. So listen, if you're looking for a coach, you need to find someone who's done what you want to do. OK, don't just hire someone who says, well, I'm a coach or I can do this because I have a pretty website and my hair is blowing in the wind on Instagram. OK, that might get you your foot in the door, but don't swallow that. Make sure you ask questions. Ask questions. And find out just by looking if they've done what you want to do. And if they haven't, move on, okay? Move on. Because if they have done what you want to do, they will tell you that. You won't have to ask. It'll be at a website or someplace. That's the first thing you want to do. The second thing you want to make sure you do is you want to make sure there's a match. So follow them. Subscribe to them. Read their blog. What do they say? How do they act? How do they show up on LinkedIn? How do they show up? Okay, do they show up as someone who's helpful, or do they show up as someone who just cares about their hair blowing in the wind on Instagram? Okay, it's really easy to figure this stuff out today. And there's really no reason to hire a person who can't help you, because all you have to do is look at what they're doing and you'll know pretty quickly whether they can help you or not. So do your homework and look under the hood.
So now I know one of the things that you have done really successfully is you have built an amazing community of makers through your Indie Business Network. And so I want to talk to you about how does one go about building a community online that they can turn into recurring revenue?
This is my favorite question. And yes, the Indie Business Network is awesome. Please visit us, follow our makers, and buy their stuff. What you need to do is you need to make your business about your people. Okay, I could stop right there. That's the bottom line. If your business is about the people you serve, you will have a thriving community. Okay. You have a community no matter what kind of business you have already. I don't know what kind of community you have, but you have one. Okay. But if you want them to thrive and you want them to come back, then you need to make that community all about them. Connect them together. Don't make it all about you. I'm awesome. All roads lead back to me. No, you may put the impetus in place, but all roads need to connect them to each other. And that's where the power is. It's not in the back and forth between me and this person and this person and this person. It's in the back and forth between that person and that person. And what you build is like a net. It's like a strong net with wires going all the way across. And it's an ecosystem. And when you make it about the people you serve, the community builds and thrives almost by itself because people know you care about them. And when they know you care about them, they will come back for that and they will help each other and you will help them. And it's a beautiful give and take.
I love it. I love it. All right. Now, last question. What is the best business advice anyone's ever given you?
The best business advice I've ever had, I've had so much, but the best one I think is probably from someone who said to me, and this is really a saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Okay, so what that boils down to for me is do not do this alone. Do not cry alone. Do not vent alone. Do not celebrate alone. Melinda, you and I, we do it, we connect to each other. Right, so find a tribe of people that will connect with you in your of colleagues as well as in your community that you serve. You need both. So don't go fast, go far and go with other people.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for being here. That was such helpful advice on how to build a lifestyle business and so many other things. Up next, we're going to be talking with sales and marketing expert David Weiss, and he's from SmallBizChat, and he's going to be talking about how to leverage networking to make more sales. We'll be right back. This is SmallBizChat Live. Stay with us.
We see something like an 85% open rate of our outbound email sequences. We see something like a 40% reply rate to those cold sequences, and outbound accounts for something like 30% of our signups right now. So we can directly attribute that to MixMax.
Welcome back to SmallBizChat Live. I'm Melinda Emerson, the Small Biz Lady. Our next guest is sales expert David Weiss. He is a New York native and a sales beast for the company SmallBizChat, and they produce photos and edible treats to help your business stand out. David, welcome to SmallBizChat Live.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for being here. I think maybe just a quick note on that. I don't know how much of an expert I am, but I like to learn a lot, and I'm always reading new articles, trying to implement some new tools. But I don't think that anybody's ever an expert at anything. You got to keep growing and really stay hungry after it. But I could share some of my expertise and how we've kind of scaled this business in the past 2.5 years to a company of a pretty substantial size. I'd say that maybe the first thing that I could say is that you kind of have to be all in. I mean, especially in this startup world that we're kind of living in, and when we're trying to really get a bench press up there and get it a clean hoist over your head, you really have to be all in. And just one of the sacrifices that I've had to make is not really having a life and having that work-life balance. And that's just something that you're going to have to commit to, and you have to be all into it. And if you can't really give that, then you're not really going to move the rock as far as you want to. It's going to be a Sisyphus, the Greek god who's destined to roll the rock uphill every day to just wind up at the bottom each morning. But yeah.
All right. Well, tell us about SmallBizChat. What is that? How can we get some?
So SmallBizChat, SELFFEE, is the edible photo booth, and live on site at events, we print guest faces on demand onto food and drinks. So we print on about 14 or 15 different food and drinks. But if you've ever wanted to eat a popsicle that has your face on it, we do that live at events. And we've scaled. We started the business 2.5 years ago in New York, And we've scaled it to 12 markets in the US, Canada, and the UK, and just about in under 2.5 years. And it's a really strong come out. And I think that a lot of this can really just be attributed to just tenacity in our outreach, in our sales, and in our marketing, and just kind of a get it done situation. I mean, one thing that I could say is that if you're the type of person who's going to say, you know what, okay, like 12, 13, 14 hours. It's 10 p.m. I'm really tired. I've been working since 8. Oh, I need to, turn off. It's like, I don't know. I personally think that you should just go home, because you're maybe not ready for it, or you're not ready to get serious about it. But when you're ready to get serious about it and you're ready to really stay after it, then it's a beautiful thing. And some things that I felt, I'm pretty young also. I'm 30 years old. I just turned 32 weeks ago. But I actually feel like I've had transformational times in sales, specifically in outreach. And when you figure out that little kind of or that little bob or weave, it's really beautiful. And I've really felt like this transcendence feeling. It's kind of a crazy thing to feel. And so kind of what I'm really playing with all the time. I mean, everything is positioning in outreach and how you're actually outbounding people. So that's pretty much what I'm thinking about all the time, all day, every day, before I go to sleep, first thing in the morning, is how do you actually, what's the most effective way to really outreach people and fit the key to the.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. What are some of your favorite offline marketing tactics? Like, how do you go about doing that?
Well, first of all, I mean, I'm all in, and this is my baby. So anybody that I talk to, I'm actually, I'm just always selling. I think that offline, I think that I'm more of a beast really online than offline. But I mean, it's really just being the biggest, just preaching your brand, preaching what you do. Also, we have the luxury. We've created this category, and we're creating demand for something that wasn't currently there. It didn't exist 3 years ago that somebody could be at an event, take a photo. It's an edible photo booth, and then get their face on food and drink. It wasn't available before, so nobody knows that they want something before somebody invents it, right? So it's always kind of interesting that we keep pushing this prerogative, because there was no market for it until we created it. So we kind of have the luxury, and I mean, we really thought about it a lot before we brought it to market. But we said, hey, photo booths are played out. Everybody has a photo booth. It's almost like a necessity at an event. But honestly, they're just played out. We've seen them everywhere. So we said, hey, let's make an update to it. Let's make it edible. Let's make it extremely shareable and extremely fun. And so I think that just kind of goes throughout the brand.
Sure. Now, when it comes to, I know you're putting people's faces on anything edible, but what about old-fashioned business cards? Are those dead, or do I need a popsicle with my face on it to remember you?
I've actually, we've done, because we could do custom shaped cookies and custom shaped products. So at a couple of trade shows, I've actually printed my business card on a cookie. It's not so great actually, because people eat it and then they don't have your number, so then so it's not such a great, really strategy, but, I would say that it really depends on what your average sale price is. I mean, if you figure that in 3 years that I'm going to be giving away $500 worth of business cards, 3,000 to 4,000 business cards. And I mean, I buy them in like 1,000 piece increments. Because we always keep updating them, tweaking them, adding markets that we've gone into. And so when you think about what your selling price is, that kind of gives the answer. So in 3 years, you're giving away $500 in marketing materials, to 10,000 people. I mean, I'm making sales out of it. Our average sale is anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000 for an event. So even just if we make one sale from one of the 10 to 15,000 business cards that I've given out, it's definitely worth it. I think that if your average sale is, another vertical of our business is we do drop shipping. So you upload photos to our website, we drop ship you cookies. That's like a $40 sale. So it just it's an equation that you have to think about and just do the equation in your head.
All right. Well, let's talk about the biggest networking mistakes you see people. So you already talked about one. You said putting your business card on a cookie might not be such a good idea if it's a tasty cookie, right?
Yeah, but still, it's impactful and really memorable. And so, in that way, it is in the mind and on the top of the mind of a lot of people, because that's just something that's such an easy illustration to draw. This crazy cookie printer, he gave me his card on a cookie. I don't know his name, but I know the concept, and he can find it. I mean, one thing, I'm actually, and I'm sorry if there's any feedback on the line, but I'm actually at this an ag tech conference that I just kind of slipped out for. And so I'm kind of doing networking everywhere all the time. And the one thing that I would really say that the biggest folly you can make is doing something like, is first of all, positioning it like you're networking at all. And if you're leading with a business card in your hand, and it's such a transactional thing where you're saying, hey, well, I want to talk to you specifically, and I need you to be my customer or something like that, I think that that's already kind of a misstep. And I actually find that I find the best VC people, the best future employees, the best just friends and the best allies in my business by intentionally not talking about my business and what Selfie does, but just trying to connect with somebody on a personal level. And then everything rolls from there. I mean, we were at, it's this tech startup conference in New Orleans. It's called Collision. They're actually moving it to Toronto this year, and we're going to be there as well. And, but we were at some networking cocktail event, something like that. I was like, everybody's just really transactional talking. Just, it's so obvious what they want. You know, you see them walk up to you and you're like, okay, yeah, that's great. You know, good luck. That's awesome. You know, and then I'm just outside and I'm talking to this guy, and I meet this guy who's a VC guy, and he manages like a $5 billion fund. And this was just literally by going and standing outside on the balcony and just kind of shooting the breeze with somebody.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know once you make a connection, email is still the best way to follow up. What are some of your email tools that you like to leverage when you're using?
Oh yeah. MixMax in no way pays me. They are the most powerful outreach tool and email marketing tool that I've ever seen in my entire life. My operations director, we have our whole entire team on MixMax because it's so powerful. You can try it for free. It will literally change your game. I don't know how many times that my director of operations and we say like, hey, when are they going to make MixMax for my personal life and for texting? Because like there's just so many useful tools on it that there's something even like a send later. So have you ever been up at 1 a.m, 2 a.m, writing that email, and you're like, oh, let me just save it as a draft. I don't want to send it. It's not going to hit at the right time. So MixMax has a tool. It's send later. So all you do, you write the email, you say schedule to send tomorrow morning at 6:45 in the morning, and then boom, it's off your plate. And that's really what it does a lot of, is automating the follow-up process and gets it kind of down to a science. And again, I am in no way, they are not paying me to say this. I just really love their service. I could not do my job without MixMax. We have about 3 people on the sales team, but I'm kind of working anywhere from 200 to 500 open opportunities at a time. And I would not be able to do the follow-up without MixMax. So that's everything from, following up a person that I meet out somewhere. And so it does sequencing. So it's like, you send out your standard email, hey, nice meeting you, whatever, some nice photos of what you do. And then you can set what's really called in the outreach game is a cadence. So you can have, you could just set the cadence and the sequencing and the follow-up to auto do it. This is all done through MixMax, which again, like you said, is a native extension of, sorry for the music, is a native extension on Gmail. And so kind of just a winning equation that I find, and what I've done a lot of research on, is that apparently 8 follow-ups is the winning equation. So when your cadence is 8 follow-ups, somebody will respond to you. That's
awesome. And we got to let that be the last word for now, but don't go anywhere, David, because we're going to bring you in our other 2 guests back, and we're about to do our little panel that we call Hit It or Quit It. But here's the rule, okay? You cannot repeat anybody else's answer, and your answers need to be concise. So 30 seconds or less, all right? If not, we're going to give you the hook or the horn, all right? The first person I'm coming to is Donna Maria. So Donna Maria, the first question is, what is your favorite business app?
Instagram.
All right, Instagram, that's great. Okay. All right, I'm coming to you, Ellen, next.
Google Drive. Google Drive, because everything that we're doing is in the Google Suite. And I'm excited about that MixMax because I'm really all in on the Google flow, but our manuals, all the way we deliver information throughout our organization, Google Drive has been amazing.
All right,
that's
David,
more than 30 seconds.
What's your favorite app?
It's Airtable. It's another company out of San Francisco. It handles our entire operation. And we did over 600 events last year, and we run everything through there, from product ordering to staffing, really everything through it. It's our whole back end.
Airtable. Yeah. Okay, that's one I've never heard of. All right, so David, I'm coming back, and I'm going to start with you. What is the best marketing gimmick you've ever seen?
That I've ever seen is...
Come on, this is really easy for you.
For me, I don't know. I think I get the hook. I'm going to hook myself.
Oh no! All right, I would say selfie. When you say that.
Yeah, I didn't want to shamelessly plug my.
Yeah, obviously,
I threw you a softball down the middle. You actually could have totally.
Yeah. You send a client a box of cookies with his face on it. It's a game over. Come on.
I love it. I love
that. I've got so many tabs open now with all these ideas.
All right, Ellen, what is your best marketing gimmick you've ever seen?
Old school is taking the selfie or the video testimonial and sending that to that neighborhood. So you can go to info-USA, you can have a little postcard. Not many people are using postcards anymore, so they stand out in a mailbox. And so send it to 50 people, send it 8 times to that neighborhood, but it's got their neighbor on it telling them how great you are. So just really hyper-focused, old-school, testimonial-based postcard.
I love it. All right, Donna Maria, what's the best marketing gimmick you've ever seen?
Oh, I've had all this time to think about it, and I'm sort of at a loss for what I'm going to say here, but I got to kind of stick with the selfie idea and the cake that someone gave me with my logo on it once. That was just, it was delicious, and I ate the whole thing, but I went back to her and bought more cakes as gifts for other people.
I love it. I love it. Now, the best one I ever saw was early on when we first started doing SmallBizChat and my blog started to get big. People started to really harass me to try to be a guest on the show. And a guy mailed me a sneaker in the mail, and he said he was just trying to get his foot in the door. And I thought that was so funny.
Oh, that's clever.
That's really good.
An expensive looking Nike sneaker. And I was like, oh my gosh, do I need to return this? But he ended up becoming a really good friend of mine. And he's like one of my, go-to small business experts these days. All right, Ellen, I'm coming back to you first on this one.
Okay.
What's your favorite podcast?
Oh, Rich Roll. He is an extreme athlete, a recovering guy. I love people who go way out there to test the limits of human capacity, and he has amazing guests. RichRoll.com. Rich Roll.
All right, David, what's your favorite podcast?
I like this podcast by a guy, David McRaney. It's a You Are Not So Smart podcast. You Are Not So Smart. It's about cognitive biases and things that we do every day that we have no idea about. It really delves into the psychology behind it. It's pretty cool.
I love it. All right, Donna Maria, what is your favorite podcast?
Well, I have a podcast, but I won't say that it's mine. I think there's a podcast called How It's Made, which is really cool because it teaches you how stuff is made and who made it and all the cool stories behind them.
Very cool. Very cool. There's a lot of podcasts that I love, but I actually really love Barry Moltz's podcast.
Oh, yeah.
It used to be called Insanity Radio. Now he calls it something like Normal, but I've been listening to it for years, and I love him very, very much. All right. So, Donna Maria, tell me this last question. What is your favorite business book?
The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, because it's a business book and a life book, and I love it, and I read it over and over again.
All right. Ellen, what's your favorite business book?
Fix Your Business by Melinda Emerson.
You're very sweet. I thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And David Weiss, what is your favorite business book?
A business book, I don't know. I mean, I really like Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell, just because it kind of investigates things that we think we know in a different way, really breaks it down. So I think it's really applicable to business to see things from the wide angle and really chop it up.
All right. I like Malcolm Gladwell too, but you guys know my favorite business book is, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just blanked on it for 1 second. It's the E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber, which is my favorite.
Love it.
All right, you guys, I thank you so very much. Donna Maria, Ellen Rohr, David Weiss, thank you guys so much for being my guests on SmallBizChat tonight. And this would not be possible tonight without our wonderful sponsor, MixMax. If you use Gmail, you need MixMax. And I'm just saying it like that because that's what I use for my business. The mission of SmallBizChat is to end small business failure. I am Melinda Emerson, Small Biz Lady, your host. Until next time, remember that you never lose in business. Either you win or you learn. God bless. I'll see you guys next month.